"Daddy, she looks hungry. Can I share my food for her?" The rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Marcus Chen's corner office on the 47th floor, but he barely noticed. His 5-year-old daughter Emma sat quietly in the leather chair across from his mahogany desk, her tiny legs swinging as she waited for him to finish yet another conference call. It was already 8 p.m. and they still hadn't had dinner. Again. "Daddy's almost done, sweetheart," Marcus whispered, covering the phone's mouthpiece. Emma nodded with the patience that broke his heart, a patience no child should have to learn so young. As the youngest CEO in his company's history, Marcus had built an empire, but somewhere along the way, he'd lost sight of what truly mattered. His wife Sarah had left 2 years ago, unable to compete with his obsession with success. Now it was just him and Emma, and he was failing her every single day. If this story touches your heart, please show your support by liking this video, sharing it with someone who needs to hear it, and don't forget to comment below with your thoughts. Subscribe to Trillionaire in Love for more inspiring stories that will change your perspective on life. The elevator descended in silence as they finally left the office building. Emma pressed her small hand against the glass, watching the city lights blur past. "Daddy, I'm hungry," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the mechanical hum. "I know, baby." "We'll grab something from the drive-thru on the way home," Marcus replied, checking his phone for the 10th time in as many minutes. But as they stepped out into the cold December night, Emma suddenly stopped walking. Marcus, still typing on his phone, bumped into a tiny frame. "Emma, come on, we need to— Daddy, look!" Marcus followed his daughter's gaze to a woman sitting in the doorway of a closed storefront. She was young, maybe in her 20s, wrapped in a thin jacket that provided little protection against the bitter wind. Her hollow eyes and gaunt cheeks told a story Marcus recognized from his own childhood, the story of empty stomachs and sleepless nights. "Daddy, she looks hungry," Emma said, her voice filled with the kind of pure compassion that only children possess. "Can I share my food with her?" Marcus felt something crack inside his chest. Here he was, a man worth millions, and his 5-year-old daughter was teaching him about humanity. "We don't have any food with us yet, Emma." Without hesitation, Emma began digging through her small backpack. She pulled out a granola bar she'd saved from lunch, her favorite juice box, and a small bag of goldfish crackers. "I have these," she said simply, already walking toward the woman. "Emma, wait." Marcus started, but something in his daughter's determined stride stopped him. He watched as Emma approached the stranger with the fearless kindness that only children possess. "Hi," Emma said softly to the woman. "My name is Emma. You look cold and hungry. Would you like my snacks?" The woman looked up, tears immediately filling her eyes. Her name was Lisa, and she was only 23 years old. She'd been living on the streets for 6 months after losing her job and apartment. I can't take your food, sweetie," she whispered. "It's okay," Emma insisted, placing the items gently beside Lisa. "My daddy says sharing is caring, and you look like you need caring." Marcus watched from a few feet away, his phone forgotten in his hand. For the first time in years, he truly saw someone else's pain. This wasn't a business deal or a quarterly report. This was a human being who needed help. The challenges they faced in that moment were immense. Lisa's pride warred with her desperate hunger. Marcus's corporate mindset clashed with his awakening humanity. Emma, despite her innocence, was navigating adult problems with a child's pure heart. "Thank you, Emma," Lisa said, her voice breaking. "You have a beautiful heart." Marcus stepped forward, finally putting his phone away. "Lisa, right? I'm Marcus, Emma's father." He pulled out his wallet, but Lisa held up her hand. "I don't want charity," she said firmly. "I want to work. I want to earn my way." Marcus studied her face and saw something he recognized: dignity, determination, and intelligence, dimmed but not extinguished by circumstances. "What kind of work did you do?" "I was a graphic designer. Lost my job when the company downsized. Been trying to find work ever since, but it's hard when you don't have an address or a place to shower." Emma had settled down beside Lisa, sharing her juice box and chattering about her drawings and favorite cartoons. Marcus watched his daughter's natural ability to connect with people, to see past circumstances, to the person underneath. "Lisa, I run a marketing company. We're always looking for talented designers. But first—" Marcus pulled out his phone, but this time to make a different kind of call. "Let me get you a hotel room for the night. Tomorrow we'll talk about a job." Lisa's eyes widened. I can't accept that. I don't know you. You don't have to know me, Marcus said, kneeling down to Emma's level, but my daughter seems to think you're worth caring about. And I've learned that Emma has better judgment than most adults I know. The real challenge came in the days that followed. Marcus had to learn to balance his responsibilities as a CEO with his responsibilities as a father and a human being. He helped Lisa get back on her feet, not just with a job, but with the dignity of earning her own way. Lisa proved to be incredibly talented, bringing fresh creativity to Marcus's company. More importantly, she became like family to them. She would pick Emma up from school when Marcus was stuck in meetings, and in return, Marcus helped her rebuild her life brick by brick. The transformation in Marcus was profound. He started leaving the office by 6 p.m. He and Emma began volunteering at soup kitchens on weekends. He established a foundation to help young professionals who had fallen on hard times get back on their feet. But the biggest change was in how he saw the world. Success wasn't just about profit margins and stock prices. It was about the lives you touched and the legacy you left behind. 6 months later, Marcus stood in the same spot where they'd first met Lisa. Emma was now 6, and she still carried snacks in her backpack, not for herself, but for anyone who might need them. "Daddy," Emma said, tugging on his coat, "remember when we helped Lisa?" "Of course I do, sweetheart. Are there more people like Lisa who need help?" Marcus smiled, looking down at his daughter's earnest face. "Yes, Emma. There are lots of people who need help." "Then let's help them too," she said simply. Marcus realized that his daughter had taught him the most valuable lesson of his life. Success wasn't measured by what you accumulated, but by what you gave away. It wasn't about climbing higher. It was about reaching down to lift others up. Lisa now ran her own design studio, with Marcus as a silent partner. She'd moved into a beautiful apartment and was engaged to a wonderful man she'd met through their volunteer work. But she never forgot that December night when a little girl saw her not as a homeless person, but as someone who needed caring. The three of them remained close, bound together by that moment when compassion triumphed over indifference, when a child's pure heart melted away the barriers that adults build around themselves. Emma's simple question, "Can I share my food with her?" had changed 3 lives forever. It reminded Marcus that true wealth isn't measured in dollars, but in the moments when we choose to see and serve each other's humanity. Sometimes the greatest lessons come from the smallest teachers. Sometimes a 5-year-old's heart can show a CEO what success really looks like. And sometimes sharing a granola bar can change the world. If this story inspired you to look at the world differently, please take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Your comments mean everything to us. Tell us about a time when someone's kindness changed your life. Don't forget to subscribe to Trillionaire in Love for more heartwarming stories that remind us what truly matters. Together we can spread more love and kindness in this world.